That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Welcome to a movie month where we enter Dante's Inferno. Joe Dante, that is. The loony filmmaker with a small yet immeasurable army of B-movie fans eager to catch the next showing of Mant. Grab a seat in our Rumble-Rama theater. But be warned, there are gremlins in the projection booth as we roll the B-roll on Joe Dante Month with tonight's feature presentation, Matinee. All right. Okay, so Dragon, this is our fan request from Joe Dante Month. We put up a poll. Some pretty decent competition up there. Let's see, we had the Twilight Zone movie. Specifically, we're going to talk about Dante's sequence and that. What else did we have up there, Dragon?
Honestly, none of them really missed. I mean, you had that. There was what is it, Inner Space, like his remake of the whole of the Fantastic Voyage movie, and then let's see, there was that. There was the one with River Phoenix. Was it River Phoenix?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, the one with River Phoenix and the kids. I'm kind of blanking on the rest of the lineup right now. I know Piranha wasn't there, but it was. I know it wasn't there. That's the odd thing. Yeah, but no, they had stiff competition. There was a lot of good stuff.
The Burbs was the other one.
Oh yes, the Burbs. Good old Hanks. Yeah. Yes, Burbs. Yes,
but yeah, Matinee won out by a pretty considerable percentage. It got 56% of the vote. Twilight Zone got 33%. So. Yeah, we're doing this, and Dragon, I am glad of it, of course, because, Dragon, how the hell did this movie I don't know if you were aware of it. I was not aware of it at all, and I have no idea how it passed me by. This is everything.
Yeah, that's the thing. Matinee is one of those movies that anyone who's seen it loves it, but not many people are aware of it, I feel. It just kind of got swept under the rug.
It feels like a Disney Channel original movie on crack.
Well, I think, kind of done right, in my opinion. Like, this is basically the best version of Phantom of the Megaplex ever.
Exactly, yeah. So, Dragon, I mean, just, like, I am sure one of the things that you and I are going to geek out about is, like, the theme park of it all, the Rumble-Rama and everything like that. But, like, I genuinely think, as a theme park enthusiast, like, this movie is honestly a little bit ahead of its time as far as, like, what the John Goodman character is trying to push with in-theater effects and everything. But it's so fun. It's so meta. I love that at the end of the day, there's not really a big disaster going on besides the big balcony collapse. That's probably the closest thing this movie has to an actual, action set piece. But I love the suspenseful atmosphere we create through not World War II, through the Cuban Missile Crisis. I feel like they really play into that very well. I have a couple nitpicks with the kid characters, not major nitpicks, but we'll get into them. But overall, Dragon, of course, obviously love John Goodman, firing on all cylinders. Like, this is John Goodman in his prime. I have so many nice things to say about this movie, Dragon. Let's just get into it.
Look at him in his prime.
Seriously, though, man, this was in the era where John Goodman could do no wrong.
Well, still, John has never done any wrong. He's been in wrong movies, but he's been good in those movies, even though they were wrong. So Joe Dante, this is for me, Joe Dante's most personal and critically successful film. This is Joe Dante, paying back the masters that inspired him. Debatably the most B movie Joe Dante's gotten with the movie within a movie aspect of it.
Absolutely, with the movie for sure. It's the most B movie stuff he's done. Yeah,
this really does feel, and this is after Gremlins 2, which we just talked about. This is feels like something he could only get away with after the clout that he had on Gremlins 2. Which I believe was a moneymaker. I could be wrong, but the point being, it's successful enough to get a sequel. The fact that all the carte blanche that he had creatively on that film. it had to get him somewhere to at least this film, which would have been a risky gamble made pre Gremlins 2. So for me, the way I found this film, I covered a memoirs once
Okay.
because I had access to it for a brief time, and the movie always kind of intrigued me because of the poster with John Goodman on it. The John Goodman factor drew me in. It's like, what is this?
How
I'm
could it
always
not,
looking
though,
for a good
right?
John film before, and Joe Dante. Oh my goodness, I like Joe Dante movies. What is this? And then I find out, oh, it's about a movie theater. Oh my god, it's gonna be like kind of a Joe Dante version of the Majestic. Who knows? Let's check it out.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, but obviously a lot more Joe Dante B movie flair to it. Anyway, regardless, this thing it's a celebration of movies and the relationship between the audience and the experience of the movies. You
Yeah.
I live for the magic of Woolsey mentoring Gene. That's my sweet spot in this movie. That's where all my love is. That's where all my warm and fuzzies are. I'm again, the over the top B movie is just authentic and hilarious. Mant itself.
Mant is amazing. I just every time they cut to it, Dragon, I am just in love with it.
Yep, and again, just the B movie within a B movie. Just there's so much love. It just honestly, the movie in total, it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. That's the best way I can sum this up. This movie is just so darn delightful.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me give you a little bit of background.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the background on this, Dragon. I feel like this is a relatively deep cut, honestly.
I think you're gonna like the background on this. It's not mind bending, but it is interesting. So
Okay.
what we do know is, so this originally, it's so funny you bring up the Disney Channel thing because I was gonna bring it up here, where
It feels so much like a Disney Channel movie, dude.
so here's why. So originally, so the idea is like a script made its way to Joe Dante, which essentially was originally literally. I'm not sure. I'm not saying it was the exact same movie, but essentially it was the same premise of like Phantom of the Megaplex. It was a haunted movie theater script. Which I don't know how many of those there are, but it seems to be at least there's like a fair number of them to the fact that they kind of happen.
I feel like it's a very, very easy thing to go to, considering Phantom of the Opera is like one of the big pillars of early horror.
And remember, we know that Joe Dante loves Phantom of the Opera, so I imagine that's why like a haunted theater script probably landed on Joe Dante's lap. I'd imagine.
Sure.
Fact is, it goes to him, and he kind of there's some passing interest. Anyway, so he and the writer of Gremlins 2, they kind of transform it into okay, let's make it a little bit more of a personal story here, and this kind of relates to Joe Dante as a kid, and basically the idea of Joe Dante, the B movie fan that he was. He grew up during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He remembers, like, it's kind of almost like a Kennedy thing. You remember this was like the other Kennedy thing everyone remembers.
Right.
Where it's like, you remember where you were during the Cuban Missile Crisis, where... I'm sorry, can we stow the snacks in the compartment?
I swear to God, it's not snacks. I'm sorry, I'm good.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Fact is, the Cuban Missile Crisis, everyone remembers where they were, and there was the atomic bomb scare of it all. And basically, it was kind of a cross between Joe Dante's interest in the atomic B-movie pictures while the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on. So, Gremlins 2 writer, suggested, why don't we rework the script into kind of like putting a little bit of our childhood in there and just kind of like, reworking it. So it's a little more interesting than, it's a haunted theater. That's not going to be nowhere near as good as Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, I absolutely think that what makes this movie what it is the fact that there's virtually no actual set pieces besides the balcony. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I feel like that gives it such a lived-in, charming quality to it.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of go behind the screen, which is something big,
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, so like Joe Dante, like for example, so much Joe Dante DNA in this thing, but there is like a few like kind of reworkings. Like Joe Dante, he was not a Navy brat. That's something that they kind of like pulled from a friend of his, who was a Navy brat, whose father I believe probably was there during the Cuban Missile Crisis and everything. But Joe Dante did have a little brother he went to the movies with, so it was a little bit.
The brother thing absolutely felt like a pull from his personal life, yeah.
Oh, for sure, and that's kind of a runner in Joe Dante stuff. There's always like the we'll get into this with the with Sherry, the girl with the little brother she takes in the movie. Joe Dante works that in the Small Soldiers too, where it's like there's the
Yeah, yeah,
belief sister has to take the brother somewhere.
totally,
So the
totally.
big thing to hit with this, so this movie is very much a love letter to William Castle. Now, do you remember? Do you know anything about William Castle? Like broadly?
Oh man, the name like rings a vague bell. I don't know.
Tiki, trust me, you'd love William
I mean,
Castle.
like this whole thing, it's kind of like I feel like John Goodman's character to me was like obviously there's some Rod Serling there. There's a little bit of Ed Wood in there. Those to me were kind of like my two bit. Like, what if Rod Serling made Ed Wood style B movies? Dragon. That was pretty much my take on the character.
Well, here's the thing. So William Tiki, you would go gaga for William Castle, by the way. So William Castle, I don't know a whole lot of them, but essentially the best way I could sum William Castle is that he came up with Hitchcock, and that Hitchcock is the B movie. Hitchcock started off essentially in the B movies, what the TV stuff in the B movies.
Sure.
And then he then went he went in a direction.
I remember when I was in high school in a film class, my film teacher showed me like an early Hitchcock movie, and it totally gave me whiplash. I was like, "What? This is the same guy who made Vertigo?"
Yeah, because you remember, even like Psycho started off kind of as a B movie
Oh,
production.
Psycho's absolutely a B movie at the heart of it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It's got a lot of B movie DNA.
Like Psycho, initially was going to start off as almost like a TV B movie sort of thing, which then got kind of elevated to a film, which then obviously took off in directions and such. So the idea is that this guy, again, hence the visage and the way we kind of sell him with the cigar and everything, and how he gets mistaken for Hitchcock hilariously. William Castle was like the other Hitchcock who stayed in the B movie level, but he basically, again, where Hitchcock put everything into the film itself with everything he could use to plus the experience within the film. William Castle was the guy who did the Rumble-Rama and everything to enhance the experience.
Okay. So he's basically like the inventor of the 4D theater, essentially.
Exactly. Precisely.
Gotcha.
So that was William Castle's big thing. It was a love letter to him anyway. So when Joe Dante pitched this to John Goodman was like, "Do you know William? I'm going to send you some reference and research for William Castle." Like, William Castle? I know William Castle. Was, like John Goodman loved William Castle. So, so yeah. Anyway, so a lot of that. And now here's something. So here's the big thing. So by the way, when all the Mance stuff was shot first when they did the film, so they could project it later. So when they're in the theater, they're actually projecting it right there in camera. It's like not like
that's cool. That's cool.
So it's like they shot all the Mance stuff first and they're timing all the shots.
Plus, it's like if you have that in the script, how can you not want to shoot that stuff first, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course, Mance. Very much an homage. It's kind of a combination of a lot like The Fly and stuff. Primarily when you think of Mant and what it's going for, you're thinking of them, the giant atomic ant movie.
Yes. Yeah, Mant is just an amazing part of this movie's DNA. I'm sure we'll be gushing about it.
Every time I think of them, I just want to rename it Mant. I got to be honest. Every time I look at it, oh man, right, Mant. No, it's not Mant. It's them. Okay, so here's the big thing I got to tell you about. So the big problem they had making this was, so they had a studio that was funding and Universal was going to distribute, but the studio went bankrupt, so they were in a big pickle. So essentially, again, this is like where Joe Dante's clout came in handy, where basically they essentially begged Universal to foot the bill for the movie, and they agreed. Which they did not have to do. And if they did not do, they were going to be really in big trouble. They would have had nowhere to take the movie. And thankfully, luckily, they went with it. And in fact, apparently they shot them, I believe, I don't know if all the movie theater stuff, at least some of the interior stuff. They shot the theater and some of the school stuff at Universal Studios in Florida, from what I heard.
It definitely feels like familiar for sure. Yeah.
It's cool, though.
You know what, Dragon? That right there might be why it feels like a freaking Nickelodeon Disney Channel thing. That right there. I honestly think we might have cracked the code on it.
Well, so much of the Nickelodeon stuff shot in Universal.
Yeah, exactly.
And there you go, Matinee. And of course, most successful, probably most critically successful film Joe Dante ever done.
Yeah, so let's just dive right into it. Dragon, I'm gonna start off with my nitpicks, all right?
Okay, what do you got?
Honestly, it's a pretty easy nitpick to get past, but
I wonder if it's the same nitpick I have.
Okay, for me, I just don't really think there's a lot of big personality difference between the two main characters, the two kids. And I honestly, I don't know. I think their plots, to me, I think what Dante's going for is a little bit of an American Graffiti vibe, where it's like kind of kind of like these two kids sort of like, they both have sort of different subplots that kind of like converge and, kind of weave in and out of each other. I just kind of felt like he got a little bit too big for his britches, and I feel like Gene is really the kid that we should be focusing on, and the Stan stuff just did not like. I don't know. It just kind of felt like it was a little bit superfluous to the overall plot. That's my one nitpick.
Well, I'll tell you. Here's the thing for me, and again, it kind of relates to that. So, I mean, in regards to your thing, I think ultimately you're kind of right, and that's kind of the same hat trick twice, and that it's kind of it ends up being kind of a boy-girl story, and that Gene. Here's the thing. I love Gene's story. Gene's story is more a relationship with a boy in film, ultimately. But then we kind of make it into again. I don't mind that we go here, but it's the fact that we kind of have this done more so directly with the Stan.
I honestly buy Gene's relationship a lot more than I buy Stan's, because
I know that's the thing. So I'm saying I like the scene. I like ultimately where that relationship ends up, but there's not a lot of ceremony getting there. It's kind of there. Don't get me wrong. It's there and it connects, but it's like, I like the other stuff we're doing with Gene a little better, but then Stan is like, okay, well, Stan's thing's literally built around the relationship stuff. So, it's kind of like if we do it twice.
And I feel like the reason why we have to have the Stan stuff is because of the villain.
I know, so that's my nitpick, okay? But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, your nitpick is just the villain in general.
Well, and mind you, here's the thing. It's not an aggressive nitpick. It's just kind of like kind of dusting the thing off and like, oh, look at that. Where it's here's the thing. Harvey's basically kind of like he's the B movie B plot parody of a jealous James Dean knockoff.
Totally.
So, honestly, it's less a problem, just more of like a weird thing.
Here's the thing.
Well, go on. Interrupt my point.
I get the gag with him. I get what they're trying to do with him. I really, really appreciated the running gag with the poetry.
Well, that's the thing. The poetry, it's weird. I mean, I see what they're doing.
I like the poetry thing. I just think he is a villain. Just like I don't really think they go all in with it. Like, I feel like if he was all in, just like a weird poetry quoting, like weirdo, or all in just like a Gaston style, like knife wielding bad guy. But I feel like they try to kind of have it both ways, and it's just kind of an awkward mix. But I like the poetry stuff.
Well, here's
because the poetry stuff to me is kind of like a parody of, like you said, like the James Dean, like, he's the rebel with a heart of gold, essentially.
Okay, so here's the thing with Harvey. So it's more so just the fact of like we kind of, because of Harvey, we have to work in the whole, okay, there's the misunderstanding. He's threatened him, so we can't tell the girl. We have to spend time fixing that, but we do fix it.
That is easily the part where the movie drags, easily.
And it is a nice, it's a nice thing where, I do like the save. I like how Gene kind of finds a loophole to help his buddy out. That's kind of nice, but still, it's the fact that we have to go down that route, and that, again, basically we have to justify Harvey for our villain for the climax. It's the only reason.
And frankly, this girl seems very flighty. Just in general, very flighty.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Just with Stan's romance plot, it's like, okay, I see what Dante's going for, but it just feels like, okay, we need Harvey.
What do you think of my American Graffiti comparison?
I think it's on the money, Tiki. I think.
Do you? Okay, I'm glad you do.
I do think the American Graffiti thing is well founded, but you see what I'm saying, where it's like, Harvey's basically there just to facilitate. We need a bad guy for the climax to take people hostage.
Right.
But again, I don't mind it being over the top because it's playing into that. But that's really the only gripe I really have with the movie, and it's the fact, honestly, just everything in conjunction with getting to there.
So, Dragon, I really feel like we'd be burying the lead if we didn't spend just like a significant chunk of this podcast just geeking out about the theater technology.
Yeah, okay. So in real life, there's like a whole bunch of like oramas and names and like the shock seats and everything, and of course, just like
I'm gonna say it. I would not be a fan of the shock seats. Like it wouldn't be as over the top as what they're doing here, but like I am not a fan of like the stingers and its stuff to be a bug. Not a fan at all. I just don't. It's like an invasion of personal space for me. But
well, again, I'm just saying, like, this is like the more aggressive. Like, you could only get away with it in
this
the
is like a
50s.
more. I honestly feel like I'd be more into it just because it's like, all right, like I know what I'm like. I feel like one of the reasons I don't like the stingers and its stuff to be a bug is it just totally. It's like the ultimate tone shift, right? It's like it's a tone shift that physically hurts you.
Well, wait,
Where,
just remind. Tough to be a bug, like physically. Like, what does it do with the stinger thing? It doesn't activate.
there's like little jabbers on your butt and your back that just poke you. And
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
nightmare.
a couple times when I did it, it would literally like I would have a sore back because of it.
Huh.
And this was when I was a kid. Like I don't even want to do it now.
As
It's
a kid,
probably the main reason I avoided stuff to be a bug.
that would have scarred me for life as a kid. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, it's not pleasant, Dragon. It's not pleasant at all.
Okay, my point is, what I like though with something like that is that we have like an element of danger with what Woolsey's doing, and again, kind of that '50s, like kind of like, yeah, we can get away with it now, but like,
Well, I
then,
feel like that on top of everything else, because like let's go down the checklist. Like he's got the pyrotechnics. Let's see, what else has he got?
well, the big thing he's got, kind of like the 4D element of it all here is like the Rumble Rama, which basically shakes, like, like it shakes the foundation of the place practically. Basically, it shakes the seats. Again, you have the shockers built in,
Which is pretty much what the Nicktoons Blast ride system is.
pretty much, which I love.
Yeah.
And beyond that, you have the essentially again, you have like the elements, like you have a guy in a mant costume going around, but again, remember, it's timed to the movie, so it's like, oh no, basically as if it's attacking the audience.
I love how it's timed to the movie, and I love how it's like there's the one guy that's watching for the cues. Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool, Dragon.
And oh no, it's kidnapping the nurse. Where again
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Which again is almost like Sweetums looking for
Dragon. This would
money.
make an amazing live show at Halloween Horror Nights, man.
Absolutely, it would.
That's all I'm saying. Halloween Horror Nights, make it happen. Oh, that would be fucking wonderful.
And of course, the finale too. Remember the finale that was built in? They jumped to the finale to evacuate the theater. Remember, Castle. Well, again, it's called Castle because they're going for the Castle. Lawrence Woolsey here. Woolsey, he basically was going to put the fear of God in the people, playing on the atomic bomb, paranoia and everything. Where the movie is going to end with the most realistic looking, like the world has just ended. Basically, kind of a War of the Worlds.
I love that. I love that. It's very War of the Worlds.
Exactly. So it's kind of like it's kind of Orwellian, but the other Orwell,
Yeah, exactly.
The fatter Orwell, that guy. So the fact that we basically evacuate everyone playing on the paranoia using like this, how do you basically scare people like they were scared during Jaws? Let's go next level with it. We're going to actually make it look like there's like a tear in the screen and the bomb has gone off and it's the end times. You're going to run out of the theater at the end of the movie. And it's like, oh, look, we're all okay now.
Right.
So again, the technology at play is quite wonderful. But again, for me, the heart of the movie, the absolute, just my favorite aspect of the film, the dynamic and the bond between Gene and Woolsey.
I love it. I honestly kind of wish there was a little bit more of it.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I love that. It's just so darn nice. I love like the kid calls out Dick Miller, which, by the way, the only time from what
I love the Dick Miller thing because it's a great kind of like what I really like about Goodman's character Dragon is I like that he respects the fact that Gene knows this stuff. He doesn't look down at Gene as like a basement dwelling nerd or a stalker. He's like, oh, okay, like you pay attention. That's valuable.
He sees a bit of himself in the kid.
Yeah, totally.
Remember, like I love the philosophy. I think the best line in the whole film. I think debatably, there are a lot of really good lines in the exchanges between these two. I think one of the best lines in the whole film is, "You got to keep your eyes open." It's just a brilliant line that honestly really touched me because me, I'm not a true blue horror fan. I'm a behind the scenes guy with horror, with the documentaries and the craftsmanship. So that line to me is like, as a guy who can't get into like just in the thick of it, it's like, that's the only way I could really get into that. Just like knowing, seeing the craftsmanship and how they made that happen, like all the stuff that goes into the horror experience.
There's a tour that Halloween Horror Nights does where it's like in the middle of the day, they run you through like 3 mazes. like with the lights on.
Okay.
Would you be down for that? Out of
I went
curiosity.
I went the lights on out of curiosity, probably, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I heard about that, and I specifically thought of you. I was like, oh, Dragon would appreciate that.
Yeah, seeing like what goes
I'm
into it.
honestly considering it because the price isn't bad. I'm honestly considering it. Anyways,
Regardless, so yeah, just the Dick Miller thing, by the way, I believe the only time, from what I heard, the only time Dick Miller ever played an actor of all the roles that he's played, which is really special. Is the fact that he was always like Joe Dante's, like, his good luck charm, put in all the movies. And so the fact that, like, hey, it was the one time he played kind of a meta role where he plays an actor, like, as part of like this hilarious,
absolutely, yeah, he plays a deep cut actor.
But also, remember, I love that this is even better. The fact that Woolsey is a guy. So Dick Miller and Dick Miller's buddy, who's been in a lot of movies with him too, playing the other guy, John Sayles, as Herb and Bob here. The fact that Woolsey is such a smooth talker, he turned like Dick Miller being a leg breaker, who's like a debt collector, and basically a guy who's blacklisted in the 50s, into his marketing campaign of fake protesters to get draw.
It's great, yeah.
It's just so darn clever.
You know what it gave me vibes of, Dragon?
What?
Dogma is dog shit.
Yeah, sure, yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's.
I tell you, if there's ever a Kevin Smith biopic with Dan Fogel playing Kevin Smith,
Thought of that. That's good casting. I never thought of that casting.
Thank you.
You know me. I've always
in my head.
You know me. You know who I've always thrown out as Kevin Smith. I think Robert Downey Jr.'s got to play Kevin Smith.
But you know that the Dogma is dog shit scene has to be in there somewhere.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Anyways,
so just by the way, just the best introduction ever for Dick Miller out of context. Just the kid looking at I saw this in the Dick Miller documentary. I rewatched it after this. Just it's like, hey, look, the kid looking in the magazine. There's Dick Miller eating a sandwich at a counter. It's like, man at counter. As he realizes, oh, that's I know that guy.
Well, the thing about that is, Dragon, like I didn't have movie magazines, but I had gaming magazines as a kid.
Yep, and apparently Real Magazine, by the way, based, it's the film, something from Filmland.
The one film magazine I am familiar with is Fangoria, which is the horror one. So it's like I could see if you were a subscriber to Fangoria or something like that back in the day, like you would read those issues over and over. So I could see how you would get a photographic memory for that stuff. I feel like that's a realistic detail.
So like this is like Famous Monsters from Filmland, which is was along with Fangoria and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, so I love the walk and talk to the hardware store and how he's relating to moving to a new place, and I just love the glee on John Goodman, the boyish glee of well, they terrified me as a kid, but now I get to scare everyone else.
Yeah, totally.
And also the cave painting sequence, man. How great was the cave painting example? Where basically he relates the first cave paintings to the first monster movie ever, where caveman runs from a scary experience, draws it on a wall, but then exaggerates the features, relating it to what he's doing. It's all about the audience experience. And also, how wonderful that tracking shot as he relates the 200-year-old cave painting to go into the movie theater. And we're the POV shots we're walking through the movie theater. And then here I am. What have you got for me? It's seriously, our Gremlin Stew writer, man, Chris Haas, I believe his name is, just did an excellent job.
Yeah, good stuff.
Anyway, so let's talk about our setting, the whole Cold War setting, man. What do you think?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more interesting elements of the movie, and I think it works really, really well. I think it adds an air of tension to the movie. But I feel like it also has a lot of opportunities for just social parody and kind of over the top paranoia, stuff like that.
The fact that even now we're still when we think the hammer's about to drop, we're looting places practically, the grocery stores. But remember, the settings in Key West, Florida, which is close to Cuba.
Very, very close to Florida. That is on the tip of, it's very close to Cuba. I'm sorry, it's on the tip of Florida.
Yeah, I like how we wrote out the father in a really interesting way. Where the father's not there because he's in the thick of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Spielberg daddy issues.
No, daddy issues, just daddy concern. It's oh God, he's right there.
Spielberg daddy concerns.
All right, anyway.
I'm sorry.
My point My point is, with that, I like that there's a subversion where Gene isn't bullied or anything. They're kind of looking to him as like the kid with the answers because he's a Navy kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as I said, the strongest element of the film it's like the relationship between fear and entertainment, and how we crossed over the real life fear to the escapism, which is more fear, but played up and exaggerated, so it kind of diffuses the tension.
So I honestly think one of my favorite characters in this, outside of the obvious like main two, I really do like Sandra a lot, and I like her introduction, Dragon, where she's very much protesting how how pointless the duck and cover thing is. It's like, okay, if a bomb's gonna go off, your hands covering your head isn't gonna do squat, people. What are you doing?
Yeah, they're even more screwed because they're doing it like a lockdown.
Exactly.
Where's the desk? Where's the false security?
Right.
It's
so
like,
I really like that as a character introduction, and I do think it's a good way into like contrary to the other girl who is very much just like, oh, she's the hot girl at school and I'm going to get with her because she's good looking and then she's going to be charmed. But I do not like that girl. We'll talk about her. I think the actress does a good enough job. I just don't like the way that character's written. Sandra, on the other hand, I think she's a really eccentric kind of character. I think she's a good fit for Gene. I don't know. I like these two cute kids, Dragon. It's definitely a rooting for these two cute kids to get together scenario for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, Gene just as a character, again, I love he's like an avatar for young Joe Dante, the monster movie buff and everything. He's like a real straight shooter, like a real Hey Arnold type character. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a real, yeah. Let's see. But yeah, I like the it's something really trippy too with the paranoia and the way we shoot it. Remember, like Gene has like this nightmare where it's like really heady, where like it's like the nightmare any kid would have had in the 50s, like when you're on the brink like that, where he opens the door and he like in the middle of the night has like kind of a close counters moment, or a more lethal version of it, where he sees the bomb drop and blast him away and everything. So yeah, it's the fact like that, and like when Kennedy's given like the big address, like you feel the tension in the air and everything. So the setting was very well chosen. Again, just pairing the 50s B movie with that. Again, I can't overemphasize how good that was. But also just like to talk a little bit more about Lawrence Woolsey, just beyond like the dynamic with Gene, is that again the way Goodman plays it here, he's just a walking tribute to William Castle. Again, he's the Hitchcock of B movies. He I love that gas station scene so much, which by the way features his girlfriend in the movie, Ruth, I believe her name is.
It's a perfect character introduction, I think.
Yeah, she is.
It's almost like a thesis statement for him.
I just love like he gets all there's like he looks at like the little alligators as like he's brainstorming like Gator Gal. And of course he then just he's low on funds. He's got a big personality, but he's a little low on funds. Just kind of going from gig to gig, and gets money from Ruth. But here's the thing. Ruth played by Kathy Moriarty, who we know as Coach Wittenberg's wife from Hey Arnold.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I know. Every time she pops up in things like in Casper,
that's kind of a deep cut Hey Arnold character, but nice.
Yeah. I'm just saying, she pops up like a bad penny, but a pleasant bad penny. Anyway, so I don't know. It's like I like there's like it's the idea. It's the director who ended up. It's like Hitchcock ending up with his blonde, essentially. The directors ended up with the leading lady who's kind of seen past the facade of like, yeah, he's a little more pathetic than his screen presence lets on. It's just kind of, but she grows a respect for him when he kind of comes up to the plate for her by the end to kind of try and save her from the knife wielding Mant costumed lad. But but again, that whole Mr. Hitchcock gag just cracks me up. Just the whole like, oh, I love your horror films, Mr. Hitchcock. He's signing the autograph.
Yeah, it's really good setup and payoff.
It's wonderful. Oh, here's something you're gonna love because you mentioned the Disney Channel thing earlier. The films that we parody, aside from Mant, we make fun of 60s Disney when they go to the theater and they see the shook up shopping cart.
Yes, absolutely. That is very 60s, 70s Disney for sure.
Yeah, stuff like the Love Bug and probably like the Flubber, the original Flubber, I'd imagine.
It's very much Love Bug, Dragon. It's very much Love Bug more than anything else, I think.
I mean, again, I don't know how that shopping cart came to life. I'm thinking it's a Flubber thing. I don't know. But it's just like making fun of like the cheese. Like, okay, we do not have much substance outside of like one effect that we have in the movie, like one
Right,
very,
exactly,
very
exactly.
minorly
Yeah.
impressive effect. I mean, look, okay, sentient car, I'll give you that, but shopping cart, unless that shopping cart's paired with a homeless man that is Nick Cage, I don't think I'm going to go in for that movie. It's the only way you make that movie exciting, like a homeless Nick Cage fighting crime with a shopping cart. Anyway, so let's see. We should talk about Robert Picardo. We should talk about Howard, the theater manager, the end time.
Yes. Okay. Dragon, I'm just gonna say it. Like, even in the context of watching the film, like obviously it's not Stanley Tucci, but there's some Tucci energy with this character.
I don't
You don't think so?
I mean, look, I know Tucci, man. I don't know if this is necessarily. I mean, I guess.
I'm saying if there was a remake, I would absolutely cast Tucci in this role.
Oh, of course, because Tucci's great for everything. But I don't know if that's. I mean, sure, maybe. Okay, maybe there's some Tucci energy. Sure. I'm just saying, Picardo's like one of those underrated actors, man. Picardo's like a journey.
I don't know much about him, honestly. I hate to say it, but I'll admit it.
He's really good. You know me, I'm not a Star Trek guy, but he's really good in the sci-fi appearances they does make. Like they pulled him in the Orville really nicely. Again, he pops up a lot in Joe Dante's thing. You've experienced him once actually. It's very minor. He was in that Justice League episode you liked. He was in Tabula Rasa. He played the one he played Amazo. Remember he played Amazo that was like tricked into being Lex Luthor's flunky. That guy.
Okay, yeah.
That was the point. Rob Picardo, good actor. Just want to get that in. Regardless, Picardo. He was trapped with the lady Gremlin and Gremlins 2. That guy. It was a poster boy for fear of the bomb dropping in the Cold War. He's got a little radio. He's a bomb shelter built into his theater. Which the bomb shelter in itself, quite a fun set piece.
It is, yeah.
Takes me back.
I do think that he kind of like carries his responsibility within the film. I think is to kind of like carry on the more lighthearted, sort of like comically absurd elements of the Cold War. I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep calling it everything other than the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah,
the Cuban Missile Crisis stuff. It's like he's kind of like the levity to the Cuban Missile Crisis stuff.
Yeah, why do we ever call it the Bay of Pigs anyway?
I don't know.
I'm saying there's always like a weird name. Anyway, we're getting off track. I'm sorry. So yes, no, yeah, I agree. He's very much is representative of that. He's kind of this nebbishy, neurotic guy who oddly has all the power in the movie with the theater and everything that we're showing it in. Yet, he's. But I love this. Like he's trying to get the kids out of the bomb shelter purely because he wants to get in there because he thinks the bomb's about to drop.
Yeah. It literally throughout the whole movie, Dragon, he's just like, "Oh no, this is it. This is it."
It won't close fast enough.
It's like there is nothing in Goodman's bag of tricks that does not get to him.
Yep, and with that too, I just love this Goodman has this guy does not intimidate John Goodman at all. I love that when he says they told me he was impenetrable. I just love that. Oh boy, I got into the wrong business. Where he knows they sold this guy up the river for
right.
The fact that Woolsey is just kind of laughing in the face of all the Cold War paranoia. He sees it as kind of a show. I love there's a Saul Goodman element to Woolsey, where this is a guy who's all about the showmanship and putting it all into the experience, making up for the lack of story and kind of like quality filmmaking. But again, quality screaming more accurately. So with that, again, I love that I do love Woolsey kind of stepping up to the plate and he helps Gene out. There was an actual threat of oh no, the air filter's not on. They could die in there if we don't get them out. Yeah, so that's all. Yeah, that's all nice. Let's see. Our third act, just in general, the premiere being the third act, it's a no-brainer, but it's a great set piece. You got to set it there. We got to get to the mantle. It works
really well because, like the American Graffiti comparison, I think there's a lot of moving parts to this that all kind of work in tandem with each other. Because you've got the little brother who's lost, and then at one point you have the balcony, which is literally the most high-stakes action that the film has, in a good way, I think.
And it does feel like the most theme park, the Earthquake ride kind of.
It totally feels like Earthquake, absolutely. It feels like a promotion for Earthquake, almost.
Yeah.
Come to Universal Studios and ride the movies. All right.
You ever think Universal could salvage the great movie ride? Do you think they could ever be bold enough to they got rid of it? We're gonna
Basically
sell.
rip off the concept.
Like, let's just do what they chucked it. Why can't we take it
I mean,
back?
I don't think they could call it the great movie ride, but yeah, I think they could do a dark ride based on their classic films, as long as it's classic Universal
Yeah.
films.
I say honestly, why not even just call? I mean, if they tossed it, why can't they use it? Well, it's like,
Yeah, copyright.
I mean, yeah, but they're not using it anymore.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It's Disney, dude.
All right, fine. They come up with like a new proviso of like, no, it's the even better movie ride,
Right.
the Universal movie ride, whatever. Like they could
Well, that's
absolutely
right. They probably call it something like Universal Legacy or something like
a
that.
universe of movies, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, they could absolutely do that. Anyway.
So yeah, anyways, you've got you've got that, you've got the actual Cuban Missile Crisis stuff, you've got the Mant character running around, you've got the actual film playing. Like there's a lot of good moving parts here.
Do you remember what transformed Mant?
Oh shit. No, I don't.
It's
Not
really
off the top
funny.
of my head.
It's really funny. Okay, if I got it right. And the guy was at the dentist. And an ant,
I do remember it had something to do with the dentist.
so if I recall, like an ant crawled into the X-ray machine or
Oh my
something.
god.
And basically Jeff Goldblum flied him. Basically, it's kind of like the whole not the Goldblum version, but the original version the Goldblum's based on. Essentially, ant crawls into the X-ray machine. Guy gets spliced in with the ant, and he's slowly but surely turning into an ant. He's got a giant ant head, but he's so casual at first. Well, the good news is you don't have any cavities.
Oh.
just
The bad news is you look like a human abomination.
Yep.
And I love the B movie, like them picking apart the dialogue, like oh god, like my husband used to be a shoe salesman. Lady, I don't think I'm sorry, what's the line, Dragon?
I can't. Well, you put me on the spot here. I don't really remember what the exact line was, but it was something along the lines of like it was something very cheesy and B movie esque.
Yeah. It's like that's not how an actual woman would talk.
But we also do like the Psycho thing, where it's like we have like a lot of expository dialogue, where it's like, we explain the process and everything that happened. And my favorite bit, though, I will point out, was the whole like when he's freaking out. Essentially, there's like an invisible man, like a man going crazy with the power that he now has element to it, which I really love, like a kind of a Claude Rainsian kind of element where he's going crazy, he grabs like this ant farm that's just in a room. And he breaks it on the floor. Be free, brothers! You're free now! It's crazy. I love it. And he turns into a giant ant. Oh, by the way, one of the coolest things design-wise, the giant ant built into the front of the theater.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Also, again, we this was way earlier on. We had the Dick Miller scene where they're basically saying, again, it's basically Joe Dante answering to his critics. The critics being like, people are like, oh, Gremlins was too scary. Where they're again just building up draw of like the First Amendment. People like hey, it's the First Amendment, not the First Commandment, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Woolsey's giving out like free flyers to see the show. I love that aspect of it. Very much like Saul Goodman giving out the cards.
Yeah, he's very much like he's not in it for the profit. He's in it to make an impression, to put on a show, to spread his name, to show off his technology. He's very much a man of all hats in that regard.
Absolutely, because I mean, ultimately, the goal is to impress the investor who shows up, who's absolutely blown away. That's what's missing: showmanship. Yeah, and I love that Woolsey, even though like he is like he does have those moments where he kind of comes to from the enamorment of it all, where it's like, hey kid, that wire's live, and it shocks the kid. and then he like hey, what are you trying to do? You're trying to kill this kid, like when he tries to save Stan from the Mant. Good. Also, I gotta give Stan points though. Stan pulled a gun on him. Pulled the shotgun on him. That was a bold moment. Scared the little punk away. It was nice.
Yep.
Like that. Anyway, but yeah, it's just our third act in general. We have all these elements going, then we have like the earthquake just kind of tearing the place asunder, and also it's the genius element of because of the Rumble Rama going out of control because of our psychotic.
It's like we legitimately don't know what is happening, like what is real and what is not, which is great. It's great.
Again, it just plays into the paranoia so perfectly.
Absolutely.
Like
I love that element of it.
The dominoes just are falling very neatly together, and I like that. So yeah, and of course again we'll also between Gene and Sandra, I do have a really nice conversation, just kind of pondering, kind of the big questions of
I
life. I'm
mean,
like,
this is
well,
why I like their relationship, Dragon, because their relationship is kind of built on, the paranoia of the Cold War. Like, she respects him because of the family situation. He respects her because of her attitude towards the drills and her being, kind of an outsider who's not afraid to be an outsider. I don't know. I think in the limited screen time we have with these two, I really do think that the obligatory kiss is kind of earned by the end.
no, it is. I mean, honestly, it really saves it for me. As I love that it's like Woolsey's giving him points, or well, I see you were doing okay in there.
Uh-huh.
And, like the mother has to explain the other. No, usually it's not like this. It's not that.
I love how at the end of the movie, Goodman's just beaming like that was your guy's first date, wasn't
I
it?
know. That's great. But seriously, think about how sweet that is. Just the pride that he has, and like, hey, my movie was
Yeah,
the first date.
absolutely. But I feel like at the end of the day, that he might consider that his biggest victory, Dragon.
Yeah, and also, I thought it was really sweet. He's kind of pondering maybe having kids based on him having a nice experience with that Gene kid. I don't know. I
Uh-huh.
thought that was really sweet. But yeah, it's a
All right.
classy.
Let's can we briefly touch on the other not so sweet relationship in this movie?
What do you got?
I literally almost I forgot her name, but the blonde one, Dragon.
Do you mean Sherry?
Sherry, that's the one.
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about Sherry already. What do you got?
No, we need to dwell on her a little bit though because she's bad.
Um, yeah, well, that's the thing. She's very much just eye candy for Stan to go after, and it's. But I guess what I'm saying. There's
Then
kind of like a.
her whole monologue about like he changed me, Stan. Like I don't even want to repeat the line she said, Dragon, or else I'll end up on a fucking watch list, buddy. It's like I don't know. Some of that stuff really made me uncomfortable. And then let's see what else with her. I don't like how flighty she is. Like, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, with the American Graffiti thing, it's like some of the relationships that are happening are toxic, and there's one that is actually, genuinely has.
I mean, Tiki, it was the '50s after all. You got to remember.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd say her character is probably the biggest nitpick I have with the movie, honestly. I just don't really. I mean, she's needed because of the stupid bully character, but I think maybe the bully character could have just been a bully without being a romantic rival. I don't know.
Just to give one point of credit, I want to give the bully plot line though. And again, Sherry's the thing that kind of complicates that whole thing. But
Yeah.
beyond that, though, I do want to give points to Harvey. Harvey being scared straight into the Matt costume by Dick Miller is awesome, by the way. I love that. He pals around with these guys trying to steal their wallets, and in an instant, Dick Miller and John Sayles just show up intimidating the kid, throw him against the wall. Just Dick Miller is so freaking cool. He throws him against the wall, calls him out like, yeah, we knew what you were doing. Like, basically, they scare him straight, and he ends up getting the job with Woolsey, which puts him in the man costume, which again, dominoes kind of aligning and all that sort of stuff. So that was really cool. Just want to shout there. But again, I guess to bring it back to kind of an ending point, perhaps, like we have like the symbolic helicopter shot, which symbolically, we're ending one war and we're going
Very
into
American
another.
Graffiti-esque. I know I keep saying that.
Yeah, we're coming back from Cuba, but ultimately we're on our way to Vietnam.
Right, exactly.
Which is like, oh, out of one mess into another.
God damn it! It's even the same time period as graffiti.
Well, yeah, yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm dwelling on it, but it's cool, Dragon. There's a lot of parallels you can draw there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much. I don't necessarily have much else to add here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about it, though, Tiki. I mean, unless anything you want to, if there's anything else you can think of, yeah, that's about it.
All right, cool. So next time we will be talking Looney Tunes back in action, which I have always heard good things about, but never actually seen. So I'm really looking forward to that one. We'll see how that goes.
I'm going to tease this up with it, Tiki. There is a heck of a backstory on that film.
Is there? All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, folks, that's all until the next screening of our tribute to Dick Miller's biggest fan, where our action figures are award-winning actors, and we hogtie Leonard Maltin when he disagrees with us. On Joe Dante month.
Man.
Yes, man.